It's up.
Oh,
We're live, baby.
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to launch into song. Not an invite to do so, but I really did think that...
Well, if you're going to prod me anyway, if you go up to the loft today, you're sure of a big surprise.
Gandalf,
if you
get off
go
my...
up to the loft today, you'll never believe your eyes. For every
Gandalf,
train
get down
there
from
ever
there.
was, is gathered there together because today's the day that Jenny does the Monday Club.
A big hello to you. It's great to see you, and I hope I find you well. It is, of course, Monday, 7 o'clock UK time, and that means the Monday Club, your first choice for all the news, views, chit-chat, and more. If there's one place every week that you go for a Model Rail live stream, then go and see Ken Patterson, because he's quite good. But if there's two places you go, then you cannot afford to miss the Monday Club. I've just got dust in my throat.
Yes, we have. So while you're drinking that, let's roll VT. Welcome to the Monday Club, your online model rail club for all the news, gossip, layout tours and more with your host, broadcaster and model maker, Jennifer Kirk.
So we're back here, and tonight's topic actually is something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while. And this is, you can't help but notice, especially if you're on some of the mailing lists, the number of sales that are on. There's a lot, a huge amount. They do seem to be very persistent, and some of the discounts are very, very deep. I've seen anywhere up to, actually I've got an email through today, and I suspect a lot of you guys might have, saying you have been selected to get 66% off a sound fitted model. And I'm like, yeah, me and everybody else. But is it damaging to the hobby? Now, I think a lot of people's initial reaction would be, no, it makes things a lot more affordable. And that is true in the short term. But one of the things which I've long had concerns about is the fact that deep discounting... Topsy, do you mind? Topsy, will you stop getting Gandalf to move the camera? Put it back. Right. But for a very long time, and thank you so much Hillside Junction, who has received their Monday Club badge today, and it looks like you've rejoined. You've been a member for 7 months, you just renewed your membership. Values56XX, hi to you. Jerry BVR, Retro Rambles, Dongets Model Railway, Will Tucker, Peter Jackson, Chiggle Heath, Simon Trains Model Railway Showcase, Leslie Gilpin Railways, Thymo Chairman, One Bluegrass Rail Fan, Tim Davis, 3B Rail, thank you so much, Southern Train Girl, for very generously donating $4.99
We are aware of
on
the technical issues as well. I'm sorry I had to jump in. Thank you so much, Southern
What are
Train
the
Girl.
technical
We
issues?
are aware of the technical issues. Windows is still updating. I know everyone says that Windows 10's updates are done.
No.
They're not. They're still updating. And it's doing it about 35 to 40 minutes after you've turned a computer on.
Yeah,
It's not doing it straight away.
Yeah, it's pretending to. Look, Windows is still fast.
Yeah.
Patrick Ling has just joined to become a Monday Club member. Thank you so much. So we've got you, Shunt, our Awesome Bricks, ECML Electrics, Neil Dance, and Anth. I don't know why I have so much trouble. Anthnil, Trashman 2008 says, bad for the pockets, indeed. Yeah, no, going back to talking about, so Ben Tullett says, if you buy a house, you have to ignore the sales. I'll buy the models later on when large collections of unrun models come to the market.
And this is something that's came up when we were talking earlier on.
Oh, I think the technical issues seem to have died down.
If you're a gamer, you know about the Steam Summer Sale and the Steam Winter Sale.
Yeah, and you don't
and
buy
the Steam Halloween sale.
and the Steam Valentine's Day sale.
And the Steam weekend specials and things like that.
And the Steam Memorial Day sale. You name the holiday, they've got one going.
Basically, there are at least 3 sales, probably 4, maybe even 5 per year. Would you buy a game knowing that in a few months' time it's going to be cheaper?
And actually, Yaharik says, doesn't this mean the normal price is too high? Sales bring the prices back to normal. And I know a lot of people do talk about this, like, oh, well, they set the prices artificially high. But I think the problem is that from a manufacturer's point of view, if they're fire sailing models out, which we do seem to be getting a lot at the moment, that suggests a lot of unsold stock. And if they were to make less, you would be you would find the prices would be higher. It's very, very difficult to make money if you're having to fire sale stuff that's left unsold. And at 66% discount, and bear in mind, that's what the retailer is selling it for, 66% discount. They've got a margin on that because they've got, VAT to cover, overheads, and they've still got to make a profit margin. They've got staff to pay, all of these things. So
the price of a locomotive is not arbitrarily set.
No. But then, when you go to the manufacturers, also got costs and overheads. And I begin to wonder whether some of these items are being sold for a loss. And the problem is that whilst it may seem like, oh, look at this, the good times, everything's so cheap, sales, flash sale. The problem is that down the line, does it mean that the supply of models is going to dry up? As manufacturers go, actually, we did, say, a Class 411, and they ended up getting fire sailed out. So we cannot justify the cost of doing a production run again.
So we won't do another.
So what you find is this then becomes the end of that model.
Mm-hmm.
You then see things like Ivat tanks, say, suddenly they're getting fire sailed out. And the manufacturer's point of view is, we're taking a hit on these. They're not selling at the price we need to sell them at. There's no point in us making them again.
And that's why I wanted to put it as, is it going to hurt the hobby? It's not about the consumer in that way, it's about the manufacturer.
Jennifer Horton says, I think it indicates overproduction or the wrong prototypes or features. I think certainly overproduction to some extent. In an ideal world, they would sell out to pre-order. And we will talk about the fear of missing out and how that's become quite prevalent. And, the encouragements to pre-order. But we're seeing the things that don't sell out to pre-order are starting to stick. And they're sticking around and they're going into sales. And I think that there could be some issues. Excuse me. Tim's Model Railways and Different Videos says, is it hot in the loft today?
Yes. We have multiple fans going and an extraction fan.
Oh. John Walters says, g'day. Sorry I'm late.
Gandalf?
Oh, hold on, I'll wake him up.
Gandalf's not up there. You're just banging on the roof now.
Oh, why don't you give my secrets away?
No, Gandalf's not up there. Viewers may be interested to know, Gandalf is actually sat on the model today.
He has miniaturized himself, so...
Gandalf, what have you got to say?
A Monday clubber is never late to the wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Okay,
Thanks, Gandalf.
Thank you, Martin Shipman says, evening one and all. And Andrew L says, you also have all of us fans. Well, blow air in my direction. Will Tucker says, sign of a move from just in case to just in time production philosophy.
Possibly, yes.
I mean, Don Gets Mullerow says, manufacturing to the wrong price point. I mean, you could argue that somebody hasn't done their sums in some respects, because if they had, I think there's some of the models which have ended up being mass fire sailed probably wouldn't have got produced.
I'm sorry, I'm going to say no to that. Somebody not doing their sums, but almost every retailer's doing this. That's a lot of somebody's.
Yeah, but the other problem is as well, and this is something that we saw probably about 10, 15 years ago, we saw that a lot of models were fire sailed by Bachmann, by Hornby in particular, through Hattons. And I heard from a lot of retailers that their big gripe became that big box shifters suddenly had these stocks of stuff that they were selling for cheaper than other retailers could buy them wholesale, or indeed in many instances had bought them wholesale. Iron Horse Railway says, I fear many modelers couldn't afford to take part if not for the sales. Selling fewer units to fewer customers mean you either lose money on the upfront price, so wealthy buyers only buy them. I think
there is a bit of that, yes.
I think the problem is that this is almost like the amazing harvest before the hard winter.
Yes.
And I think that my personal opinion is that we might see certain models not turn up in the future. So we're already seeing multiple units becoming very expensive. And I remember when the Bachmann Class 411 and the Hornby Class 423, the 4VEP, first were produced, I can remember them being discounted down to like $69.99 was what I paid for a first production run of the blue-grey Class 411. And you'd be like, my God, what a cheap price. But that was the price back then. And unfortunately, the cost of manufacturing in China has gone up and up and up. A lot of this is driven by a factor of different things: cost of materials, cost of energy, cost of shipping, but also, quite importantly, the cost of actually paying staff to do this. And, you can't begrudge people earning a decent wage. Thank you so much, 3D Rail. Very, very generously donated £10 on the Super Chat. Says, evening, Jenny and Zoe, ice cream or biscuit barrel? The choice is yours. Enjoy. I think it's going to be ice cream later on because it is very, very hot here. And I see we've got New Junction in. Also, Nomad Railway. How to you? Railway Days has got a Bachmann Class 47 Sound Deluxe in the sale at Getz last year for $260. And Great Eastern Model Road says, hello Jenny, Great Eastern Models here, really looking forward to this debate. Thank you so much. That is of course Great Eastern Models out in Norwich, and I'm assuming that's Anne Martin there. So a big hello to you. It's always great to hear from the retailers too.
Absolutely.
But that is something, certainly when we last had major fire sales, it was a complaint I know from retailers, and I talked to a few retailers who said the problem was thus: you have to order as a retailer in advance, and you get some pre-orders in. You've got to kind of work out what you think is going to be the demand. You order them, you pay the original release wholesale price, and then if they become shelf queens, and then you see big retailers perhaps do a deal, and let's say big manufacturer says, oh, we've got a warehouse full of a particular model, and they sell them out such that big retailer can then sell them at a huge discounted price. But a lot of smaller retailers have still got that model on their shelves that they paid the original wholesale price for.
Yeah.
And last time, one of the big gripes about this were people saying Hattons, as it was then at the time, they were the major box shifter, have basically been able to sell these models for less than we paid for the ones that are on our shelves. We then get people coming into the shop and saying, oh, well, you price match with Hattons.
No.
And they cannot afford to.
No.
And then they get told, oh, you're discounting your man, you're ripping us off. And it's like, no, yeah, and you've got overheads and everything. So you end up in this position where it dissuades smaller retailers from actually placing orders. You then get this catch-22, where next time round, the orders are less for models, so more are left in the warehouse. It's like manufacturer goes, oh, we've got all this unsold stock, we've got to shift it somehow. Yeah. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And again, bad for the hobby overall.
Yeah. Ivo Van Zon says, main reason for cost increase in China is that manufacturers realised that you get angry customers if the quality control is not working. Total sum of wages is equal to Eastern Europe in reality. Yeah, I mean, the skills out in China, though, are phenomenal.
You demonstrated this.
I demonstrated this. I built, I assembled a Hornby New Tools Black 5 in conjunction with Hornby. They invited me down there, and I did this assembly, and it was hugely an eye-opener. Firstly, how many hundreds of parts go into each of these models, but just how difficult it is to assemble them. Great Eastern Model Railway says the issue is not on current models that are in production, it's more a question of confidence regarding new models. Yeah, and I heard from several manufacturers last time deep discounting happened, saying that they wouldn't actually pre-order certain models anymore from the manufacturers because they couldn't guarantee that they would not be left with models that they had to sell for higher than what big retailers who could shift on volume and get these really, really good deals in the fire sale could then sell them for. And I've heard of instances where some retailers were ending up ordering models from the box shifter at a price that was lower than they'd paid for the ones on their shelves because they figured, well, at some point they'll sell out and then, at least, we've got some in. Railway Days says Hornby 20% off all in-stock items and 10% off all pre-orders ends today. Can't see how this helps the retailers out. Yeah, and
it helps the manufacturer, sure. And let's face it, the manufacturer has to make money as well. But yes, it doesn't help the retailer.
Neil S says assembly difficulty isn't an issue if you're trained to do it just like any other skill. However, as I proved, it's a very mentally taxing job. Yes, I'd get faster, but it is, it's a very highly skilled job, and you ain't going to cut it paying minimum wage for that. You would need a significant uplift.
This is what we actually said to Hornby, because we were discussing this, and most of it probably didn't get into the video when we edited it, but we had a discussion about this from a point of view of, I've done a lot of minimum wage jobs. I've even worked minimum wage in factories. If I had the chance to build those locomotives at that level of skill, or go down the street to flip burgers, I'm flipping burgers.
Yeah, you go for the easier. Why would you do a job that's really hard work when you can get the same money to go and do something where you can just daydream at and it doesn't wear you out? I mean, mentally, at the end of each day, it was totally draining because you have to concentrate all the time. You can't. There's no part of assembling that model where you can coast. Maura Curran says, evening Jenny and Zoe and everyone. A big hello to you. There's some latecomers, Gandalf.
Can I just say one thing? Flymore, I understand why you're hiding this guy, but what he said doesn't warrant being hidden.
Is that you, Shunt? Says, my ticket from Derby to London this week wasn't 66% off, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, and this does feed into other things. One of the reasons why people aren't perhaps spending as much on the hobby is that the price of everything has gone up. People might like, the price of models from China have gone really expensive. It's like, look around you, the price of everything has gone up dramatically. The only thing which hasn't is a lot of people's incomes in real terms are actually less than inflation in terms of rises. So in real terms, the disposable money that you've got is being squeezed from both sides.
Oh, yes.
And we've got to remember, this is a hobby. Hobbies are discretionary spending.
Yeah.
And that means that when money is tight, the first things to give are the discretionary spending.
Yeah.
Things like takeaways, holidays, brand new car, that kind of stuff, and hobbies.
Yeah, we play with the locals we've already got today. We're shunting something that we haven't brought out of the drawer for a while.
Yeah, and actually, somebody did say, don't what?
I believe you shunt has blocked several moderators, so we can't see their comments. Right.
Right. If you block moderators, I'm sorry, but that we should actually put that in the rules. But no, that's
blocking moderators to try and get around.
You can't do that. That's.
But Jen, before we go any further, shall we have a word from our sponsors?
Okay. The Monday Club is proudly sponsored by TMC, the Model Centre. Check them out at themodelcentre.com. The website features extensive stocks of new models as well as selective pre-owned items where you can track down that bargain you've always wanted. Pre-order with confidence all of the forthcoming models from all the manufacturers. TMC also offer a renumbering and renaming service so you can get the exact identity of locomotive that you want. Why not also check out their value weathering, or go for something incredibly special with their bespoke service where you can choose from a more extensive weathered look right through to custom graffiti either off the peg or to a design of your choice. Check out TMC today at themodelcentre.com and start your model journey. So, Wamgok asks, what is the answer? And I don't think there is an easy answer. If there was, then quite literally the manufacturers and the retailers would be doing it.
Retro Rambles says, what is this, an advert during a stream? Tut tut. Yeah, what this is we have to pay the bills, dude.
Yeah. You see this bright light that bathes me. If we turn it off, we're in darkness up here. It doesn't come.
You've got to keep the lights on.
Yeah. Ben Tullett says, in my industry I work in, we've just been shafted by a major manufacturer of garden and forestry machinery as they have decided to supply Screwfix and other Kingfisher Group stores with items. So I presume that they've basically undercut you, making it unprofitable. Ben, no, I do not believe that it is a dying hobby. And, I've rallied against this. Oh, is the hobby dying? No, the hobby is not dying, but what I am seeing is that it's changing. And I think this is something that that basically there's a lot of change out there. We've seen the high street start to wither and struggle to keep up with change. We've seen a lot of things change. I know in terms of like organisations that rely on volunteers are saying they're finding it more and more difficult to actually get volunteers. People's attitudes are changing. People's the way we live our lives is changing. The way we shop is changing, and I think in part some of the the issues surround some of these things. Joshua W56 says, stupid conspiracy theorists trying to scare us. No, not quite, but no. I think as well that... Ice Lolly, so you're going to have to do a little bit of talking, but do refer to the comments. But you've made me lose my train of thought, because it's really hard.
I'm sorry for bringing you something nice.
Yeah, how dare you bring me this luscious ice cream of...
So we've got questions and comments about this isn't just with the model railway place. It's with everything. And
no,
yes,
all
it is.
hobbies are struggling. But not just that. I went to Cumbria Steam Fair on Saturday with my father. Now, Cumbria Steam Fair used to go all the time with my dad. We actually exhibited there pretty much. In fact, we did exhibit there every year from about 1990 through to 2010, something like that. And then for a long time, for various reasons, we didn't. And we went back as visitors over this last weekend gone. And it was so different. They were down on exhibits. Difficult to tell if they were down on numbers. It didn't feel as busy as I've known it in the past. And I think that in part, people, the way people spend their leisure time is changing. But in the model railway world, I think there's now become more of an emphasis on second hand. And I've seen a lot of the model shops start to push this aspect of the business. And I think that's where there's definitely a healthy market. And I've said time and time again, there are a lot of great bargains to be had out there, especially with second-hand models from some of these retailers where, we've shown so many over the years that I've got from various different retailers at a huge effective discount for an older run of a model that you can still get today for a huge discount. You know, you're talking, I'm seeing class 411s for like £149 as new in the box. They're just the previous run from the one that's come out new at like £380, £400. Richard Knoll says the Train and Toy Fair in Crewe was a bit like that the last time I went. Jennifer Horton, that is a Bristol Bulldog.
It is. It's a woof woof from Bristol. Woof 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 woof.
Right, do you want to talk?
Worthington Model Railway has a pretty good point. Problems worldwide as inflation hits daily necessities, discretionary spending is less.
Yes.
Which is exactly what you said. The retailers have to cut margins to survive. Yes, and that's the problem. The retailers have shorter margins. The manufacturers are finding their stuff isn't selling. This is why we're saying, are these sales going to actually hurt the hobby itself? We're not talking about
I think
any one thing. It's like, this is a lot of different issues, which is why when people keep asking, what's the solution? The solution is very, very difficult to determine. I genuinely think it's going to take a while for anyone to work out what the best solution is.
I think what you might find is that models become ordered on effectively almost like a subscription basis. So I don't mean in that you rent them. What I mean is you have to order in advance a model and pay a non-refundable deposit that basically says, I commit to buying this model. And the manufacturer then only makes that number of models. And if the number of pre-orders don't reach the required level,
then you get your deposit back.
Then you get your deposit back, and they don't make it. And I think that...
Like a variant on the Kickstarter model. I could see that happening.
And it basically... That then plays into... We were talking about the fear of missing out.
Yeah. At the moment, I feel like, to a certain extent, because they're only doing limited runs of everything, it almost weaponizes the fear of missing out. Like, I have to get this now, because it might not be around. But then you find, oh, all of this stuff, now it's remaindered. So you were telling me it was limited edition, but it's not. So now I'm not going to trust that for the next one. Oh, I've missed out. And that's the problem. You, by the very nature of how we market things, are we not making the customer wary of even getting interested in the first place?
So is part of the problem the way things are marketed at us? That it's like, buy it now or you'll miss out. It's like, oh, you'll be disappointed if you don't buy. And actually, that's feeding into the hunter-gatherer part of our brains.
Which, of course, it is, because that's what everyone goes for.
But I've seen time and time again second-hand collections going into model shops, and you look at them and they've never been out of the box.
Yeah.
And you wonder how many of those were impulse purchases where people went, oh, I'm going to miss out, I must have it, and they buy it and then find actually, they never use it.
That is exactly what I worry about sometimes. We have this in gaming. This thing of how can we pay to win, because you get the game free, but there's little extras that you have to buy, and then each of the manufacturers of these games
microtransactions.
Yeah, the developer is looking for what they call a whale, the person who will spend and spend and spend, either because they've got a lot of disposable money or because they've got a mental illness that allows them to get addicted to spending. I sometimes wonder, and I'm not saying that this happens, what I'm saying is I sometimes wonder if the way that things are marketed in our hobby, and in most hobbies, to be fair, I see this in Warhammer as well, here's this new thing, get it before it's gone. Like the limited edition box set of this, that and the other. Get it before it's gone, and then the whale gets it and then realises, actually I didn't want that.
Chris Jones 10 says, we're obsessed with buying locos and not actually doing proper modelling. I think there is some... I mean, I've seen a lot of people, they end up with massive collections of stuff, and it's almost like, it's like, well, I'm going to build this, I need stuff to go with that, I need stuff to go with that. And you almost become overwhelmed with potential things you could do, and it almost becomes... It's like the Three Stooges thing, they all can't get through the door, so nothing happens.
Undertakers sell lots of things people never take out of the box. Thank you, Richard. Thank you for bringing the humour.
Bowman, it says the issue with pre-ordering is the lag between pre-order and when it comes out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of instances we've seen things like, for example, the Bachmann Class 25s, how long ago were they actually announced? The retooled version.
It's been a while.
And if you had to commit to them 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's... I know that's a big ask. I think that's a bit of a cheeky ask to get stuff people to commit to it that far in advance.
You shouldn't. That's a good point. Yeah, this fear of missing out ends up with people having massive collections of A4s.
Dominic Z, our Kickline correspondent, says, Jenny, we're also getting the Transformers X Knight Rider collab this year.
What?
Isn't that Transformers and Knight Rider, two of your favourite franchises, Cupboard Monkey?
Oh, I'm there. I'm there. See, this is the thing. An announcement. I didn't even want that, but now I do. This is what I'm talking about. It's not just in this hobby, it's in every hobby.
Yeah. Griffey says, hi folks, big hello to you. And Andrew L says it's basically a Kickstarter without using Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Rick Morley says, I have HOE locos I've never run. John Edwards says, with pre-orders, it's the putting the price... Yeah, I've seen that a few times, and I know from having seen the other side of the velvet rope that sometimes you get unforeseen price rises from the manufacturers.
To be fair, I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things with this is the processors that go into DCC decoders. They don't just go into DCC decoders, they go into cars, washing machines, computers, all these things. In fact, arguably a lot of things that really shouldn't need to have processors in them in the first place, but they do.
Yeah.
And the problem is that when you order processors, you know, so manufacturers like Zemo, ESU, DCC Concepts, AE Models, all of these different manufacturers, you have to order your processors in some instances anywhere up to a couple of years in advance, such as the backlog.
Yeah.
But the contract that you get basically says, well, you pay up front for these, but they may cost more. They always cost more, nevertheless. They may cost more, and you have to pay more to actually receive them when we get round to fulfilling your order.
Yeah.
And you can get situations like that. You know, a lot of people say, oh, well, I just wouldn't pay it. But then you see the situations where models turn up through other means, and if you've ordered a load of models and then don't pay for them, the factory just sells them on.
Yeah. And you won't get another chance.
Yes, yeah. And the way the tooling works out in China is quite often your tooling's with the factory. So, you know, there's a lot of pitfalls where you kind of have to smile and wave, and that's just the way things work in business with a lot of these things. John JMC, our guru of sound, evening to you. Michael Anthony Finch as well, hello to you. KR models that take your money then keep you waiting years. Although I must admit, I'm not sure that you don't have to pay in full. I think that you can just order them and only pay the balance when they come. I must admit that the website might sometimes be a little bit difficult to navigate. Griffey says, I never pre-order anymore, burnt too many times. I must admit, I've been in that position as well. And this is another problem that deep discounts and repeated deep discounts can bring. Imagine you've pre-ordered something. You've then paid the full price on release. Imagine your annoyance when you see the same item in a sale 3 months later at huge discounts, 25% off, 30% off, 50% off. And you're thinking, why did I bother pre-ordering that when I could have just waited for the sales? The next model comes around, so this time you go, I'm not pre-ordering it, I got burnt last time. And the manufacturer suddenly finds that rather than selling a load of them when they're released, sales are incredibly sluggish because a lot of people are now waiting for the sales. They expect the sales.
It's the Ben and Jerry's thing.
Yes, I always use Ben and Jerry's to illustrate this. So Ben and Jerry's ice cream, I'm not sure how it works in other countries around the world. I know it's franchised out. You Ben and Jerry's ice cream, you can buy it pretty much everywhere. But here in the UK, it's considered quite expensive. Except it's not, because every other week it seems to be on sale everywhere. So nobody buys it when it's full price. It's sat there on the shelves. But let's say, for argument's sake, £6 a tub. That's the price when it's not on sale, but nobody will pay that because they know that come next week it'll be £3.50. So £3.50 in people's psyche becomes what it's worth.
Yep.
And that is the danger of deep discounting.
Yeah.
Is it changes the perception of what your product is worth. It's why you'll never see a sale for Ferraris or Rolls-Royce or Bentleys. Products like that, they won't have a sale. You never go past a Ferrari dealership and it go flash sale, 20% off all price, slashing prices, because it devalues the perception of what the product is really worth. And that's something I think that is, I'm seeing a lot of sales, and it's going to create a difficulty, not necessarily for us. Yeah, sure, I'm not saying don't buy from these sales. I say get them whilst you can. But I think that manufacturers potentially open a big can of worms by doing deep discounts like this. Because on a regular basis. And that's what we're seeing at the moment. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I know John JMC, our guru of sense, is better than having it sat on a shelf with money tied up in a product. Yes.
That's the other problem, isn't it?
But that makes a retailer more wary about buying in huge amounts next time around. It's like, well, hold on. We had this stuff shelf queening. We had to discount it quite significantly to get it shifted because otherwise it's dead money. If you've got money tied up in stock, and I remember talking to the guy who owned and ran Bolton Model Mart, and I bought a Hornby Class 31 in Regional Railways livery. I think it's North Yorkshire Moors Railway or something like that. I can't remember the number. Something like 3149. And he let me buy it at a really good price at the time. And I said, isn't that less than you would have paid for it? And he said, I've had that on the shelf for around 6 years. And so he says, I've paid for that 6 years ago. So money came out of my account, went and paid for that. And it has sat there ever since. And nobody wanted it. So he said, that's money that is depreciating. It's money that is like a drag on your business. It's tied up. You can't do anything with it. It's like a dead weight on your accounts. So he says, by selling it to you for like £70 or whatever it was at the time, which, they were quite expensive at that point. He says, I am at least liquidating most of that money and I can put it back into the business and make it work for me. And that was the problem. The Aylesmead project says, Rails is a real pain. I burned £1,000 for a Hellion Class 50 with an ESU VXL price on sound and 2 EM speakers. Can you scroll that down? Mm-hmm. Rails then dropped the price of the Loco from $695 to $349. And that's exactly what I said.
This is exactly what happened to my grandfather. He went out because his TV was broken. He wanted a new TV. Found a brilliant TV, did exactly what he wanted at a decent price. Story. He got it home, plugged it in.
And what was the first thing
Literally the first thing he saw, an advert from another shop for a sale they were doing that day only.
For that
price.
for that TV.
That TV, half price.
And that's the problem. And yeah, I hear what John JMC, the Guru Sen, is saying about, it's like money tied up on the shelf. But it's a fine balancing act, because you've there got a customer who was prepared to pay the full price until they saw it suddenly get discounted. And all of a sudden they're thinking, well, next time I'll wait for the sale.
Yeah.
So you don't get those upfront sales. And suddenly you find you have to discount earlier. You have to discount more of them to get them sold, to stop them cluttering up your shelves. Because more people go, well, I got burnt last time. I paid $549 or whatever, and suddenly it's $349.
Yeah.
Why should I take a £200 hit?
That's
the problem. And the more times it happens, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Griffey says, I got a 6-car Cato bullet train for way less than a 3-car UK DMU.
Nice.
And Jamie Smith says, hi Jennifer and Zoe, also known as the Cupboard Monkey.
Yep.
Absolutely. Mark Wood says, after 6 years, he probably made money on it after 6 years of depreciation.
To an extent,
that's
you
an
can write
accountant.
some of that off.
Yeah, but no, that becomes
It's
an
an
accountancy
accountancy
trick. And
He never actually saw that money.
yeah, he never had the money. And the bottom line is, he paid an amount of money to presumably Hornby for that model. That physical, like, oh, look at these, look at the reddies, oh, cush tea down. That money left his accounts, and then slightly less money came back in 6 years later.
Yeah.
So you can do all sorts of
6 years is a long time.
Yeah. And you can do all sorts of accountancy tricks, but the upsum is he lost a lot of money on it.
We're not getting a picture today, then.
No, you're supposed to deal with that.
I was.
Basil Gett says, my dad remembers that every Christmas to develop my model railway. He wasn't the most gifted technician, but when I had a 004 MT, I thought this is a real machine and it belongs to me.
Yeah.
I love the Hornby 00 models. Fond fairness, memories of them. And Griffey says it's sad news about Mamod closing down. Yes, that's in the news.
What? Oh,
Mamod.
Jen, what's in the news?
In the news, Mamod is closing its doors. There'll be a final open day. But the reason that this has happened is down to increased costs. So they're being hit with a lot of increases in costs. Apparently their landlord wanted to put their rent up significantly, and at the same time signed them up into a contract where they're renting the property but are also responsible to pay for all the repairs on it.
You can't have that. That's just taking the pay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of landlords doing that, and then
landlords need to.
And then they wonder why. Oh, I can't get any tenants. It's like, yeah, because you were trying to shaft them. So unfortunately, they can't find appropriate alternative premises. There's issues in terms of the workforce lives very local to the factories. They
can't move.
They're just not wanting to move. So
it's not wanting to. If you've got a specialist workforce, you want to keep that workforce.
Yeah. So essentially, it is not commercially viable anymore for Mamod, and they've said they're closing down. And yeah, Griffey says reason it happened is they don't own their premises.
Now
and
that is an actual interesting point.
And this is something as well, actually, that a previous management at Hornby sold their building because it made their that year's accounts look amazing. Because, oh, look, we've liquidated these old assets, and look at this. And then they rented back, first of all, the property, and I think they were in Sandwich or something. And then they ended up coming back and renting part of their own premises, their previous premises back. And the thing is, all the money you liberate from selling that asset just fritters away, especially if you're having to rent. And it also means that you then become beholden to the whims of your landlord. Now, luckily, Hornby have a very good landlord.
For the moment.
But if you don't own your property, then you don't have the same levels of surety. And I hasten to add, this was a previous management.
Yeah.
So this is before even Simon Kohler came back the second time. So
I'll have everyone know I'm not a communist. But when I see so many landlords taking the mick,
yeah,
it kind of reminds me of what we all learnt about the Russian Revolution.
Yeah, it's like, there's only so far you can push people, and you can't.
before they snap.
And Griffey says only ever rent premises if a startup. It's the problem, I think, with a lot of businesses is you never have the capital available to buy your premises a lot of the time. The problem is property has become very expensive.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So that is the flip sum. Valley's 56XX says hopefully the new government will put an end to landlords being able to make money for nothing with no concern for the tenants.
Won't happen. Guarantee it won't happen.
I think what needs to happen, my personal opinion, is that contracts where you rent a premises but you're liable for all the maintenance, that should not be allowed.
That should be an unfair term.
It should come under unfair terms and conditions in a contract.
But I'll guarantee that that even this government won't put an end to landlords being able to make money, because guess what? Every party is funded by people who have property.
Don't forget to hit that like button, by the way. It's a great way of supporting the channel. And if you've not already done so, then do subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of you guys are watching without being subscribed. How does that work? And ring the notification bell. YouTube will ignore you. It always does. But at least you'll be able to say that you made the effort. And if you could give us a share out to social media, then that's always a great help.
So what else is in the news, Jan?
Well, that was the biggie about Mamod.
Yeah, Mamod. I'm really upset about Mamod. I like my Steam tracker.
Yeah. Russell Benton says theory behind it. Yeah, and we go back to the accountancy tricks and stuff. So the theory behind it is you sell your property and use the money to invest in something that make you more money. This is where Hornby failed. Yeah, I think the problem was that basically all of that money that they liberated just disappeared in rent over several years.
Yeah, that's the problem. You've got to make sure that you've got a roof over your head.
Yeah.
Company-wise and personally.
Yeah, Griffey says you need to buy a premises and then put under another company name. This sounds to me like this isn't your first rodeo.
This is the Starbucks method.
Yeah, then you can put your rent down as an expense.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday is the Bachman announcement, reminds us. Alan Pollock reminds us. And Sarah Davis says, I found out about a new maybe model shop in Sunderland, Grangetown to be precise. Always great when a new model shop starts up, but we know it is a difficult climate.
Peter Jackson says Grimy Times shop is closing.
Yeah, I've heard as well that somebody Oakes, is it Tony Oakes in the West Midlands, is going to be closed down. I think there's a lot of people as well, must remember, are reaching retirement age.
Unfortunately, yes.
I'm going to change the angle of the dangle.
For the brew, that is true.
Yeah, so there we are. Let's have camera one. Richard Gruter says, I have to buy things and hide from the wife. This is where having kids can be really useful. Now, I don't have kids, and nor do I borrow them for this purpose, but I learnt from the best. I learnt from my dad. And here's how...
So, Jenny's mum, if you're watching this, this didn't happen.
Oh, I'm sure she's worked it out by now. But, this is like water under the bridge. Like done and dusted 30 years ago. But this is how the two-man con went down. Is that we go to the model shop, we buy loads of stuff, and then on the way back, I remember my dad saying to me, he says, now, if you say you bought nothing, she won't believe you. She will see straight through that and know that you are just trying to feed her a crock of BS. He didn't use those exact words, but he says, so what you do is you take something inexpensive, maybe a couple of inexpensive items, and you declare those. She thinks,
declare?
Yes. Yes.
Anything to declare?
And then, this is where things got really good. And sorry, Dad, I'm spilling the beans here, but this is a long time in the past. When we get back, he would go and excitedly show Mum, look, this is what we got. And keep her busy whilst I'd slip all the other stuff in quite quickly and just go and mingle it in the train loft. So, we've had that for ages. Madden Steam Railway says, I'm against the closure of the company. This is mostly because of bad landlords who make crooked amounts of money by letting out a building. I think that the shocking thing that I saw in this was actually that the landlord wanted to up the rent and tie them into being responsible for maintaining a building that they didn't own. And that I just thought was absolutely...
Yeah, you can't do that. You just can't.
Basil Jet says, let me talk live to Jenny.
What?
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 What? Griffey says, tell him to register the property under a new company, claim the rent as an expense. I'm sure he claims the rent as an expense. The problem is that a lot of other things have gone up. And what he said was, there's also been a difficulty with the methylated spirits tablets, the solid fuel tablets. I believe they've been outlawed or are about to be outlawed. So
Why?
they have to redesign. Oh, because Muppets were eating them. So,
Let them.
Oh,
I'm sorry, guys, but at some point we've got
look,
to...
candle meant cake.
I'm sorry,
it
guys.
tastes like-
At some point we've got to accept that personal responsibility
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah, Darwin's theory of evolution. I say take all the warnings off everything and let stuff just even itself out. Railway Rob says, LOL, I need new tricks to slip my purchases by. Richard Gruton says, there is a customs department in my kitchen, to be fair. Andy Fryer's Junction says, kettle is on for you. I believe that is Sawyer's Models. Andy Fryer's Junction. I think that's Sawyer's Models. So it's great to see that we've got some model shops
Yeah, I bet we have.
as well.
That topic.
Yeah. Hexamine is banned, says your Harry. Yeah, so hexamine, that's effectively it's like a solid form of methylated spirits.
Methylated spirits is great.
No, it isn't.
It is.
I
I
will-
used to use it in my Bunsen burner in my chemistry setting.
Yeah.
Right.
Griffey says hexamine has been banned for camping for a good while. The problem is that it's not just stupid people, but it's actually like animals. If you get fragments of the hexamine tablets on the ground, and they do have a habit of cracking apart, especially if they're old and being knocked around. Those fragments can be eaten by wildlife. And I think that there's an element of that as well. Walter Hope Valley Railway enthusiast says, good evening, Jenny from Bamford in the glorious Peak District. Big hello to you. There's a degree of lateness. So hold on, Gandalf.
He's not up there.
Will you stop ruining my thunder?
You know that he's on the layout. He miniaturised himself so he could play around with
I
the
don't know where
trains.
he's gone.
I do.
Yeah, no.
Gandalf.
Gandalf?
Gandalf. He's over here.
Is he? Where's over here? Hit the lever!
He's over here.
Is he?
The Monday Clubber is never late to the wagons, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Thanks,
and also,
Gandalf.
you, aircraft, you shall not pass without proper paperwork.
Anthniel says, I buy stuff for the railway and say it's for the Ben. There we are. The
Your
problem
dad's
is,
in. Your dad's in.
Les Kirk says, unfortunate blowing the gaff. Your mum is watching this. Yeah, but look, come on, we're sharing the knowledge. Mum, you can't begrudge the fact that we're training a new generation in the art of smuggling stuff past the other half. I don't have to do that because Zoe's also got an expensive hobby, so it's like.
Warhammer's not that expensive.
I meant the computer games.
Once you've got your £8,000 buy-in, you're done.
Ron Lyons Model Railway says hello from sunny Southampton. It's sunny everywhere at the moment. It is incredibly warm.
I wish it wasn't sunny.
If I look like I'm glistening, it's because I am. Horwich Loco Works TMD says, hi Jenny and Zoe, me and my son went to Bolton Model Shop recently, which is now Nuffy's Models in Bolton. He gave my son a model car. Really nice guy. He is actually, yeah.
He is a really good dude.
Absolutely. Big up to the Nuffy's Model crew and the posse. I do go in there from time to time quite a lot. It's a great guy, always good for a chat. And if you are in Bolton, do check out the shop and see what he's got in store.
It's opposite the Griffin on the main road, just down the street from the bus terminal.
Yeah, it's right at the interchange with the railway station and the bus stop. John says, always throw the receipt away.
Eat the receipt. There's a possibility she'll find it if you don't.
Can I just say, retailers there, have you thought about getting till rolls made out of rice paper so in an emergency they can be eaten? Quick, eat the evidence!
I did love one sticker I saw one time. for an extra £5, we'll print a second receipt that
Tells
states
your
that,
wife what you claim you...
yeah, with the amount you said you paid for it.
Yeah, oh, there was that I remember hearing the case of a guy who unfortunately passed away unexpectedly, and then his wife sold the models for what he claimed he paid for them and sold them for an incredible loss. The dealer couldn't believe their luck. Well, if you give me what he paid for them, and it's like, oh, we told you that, did he? Okay, there we'll go.
1, 2, 3, 4, £5. The joys of being single.
Nick at Bletchton High Level says, I've started buying very small locos. They just don't look as expensive to her. Yeah, but we all know that the small ones are often more expensive.
The smaller it is, the pricier it is.
Mark Wood says, my mother was complicit in the sneaking in of railway stuff as the bank of mum often paid for the items.
Wow.
Oh, that's always good, actually. The women are always the sneakier. So, like Dad, you saw him earlier on there, Les Kirk, saying that him and my mum are watching. And it's like, Dad, what did mum slip past you? Because she ain't stupid. There was things that she did that she got under the radar, believe me. Krista Duke says it's sunny in Alton in Hampshire. Ooh, lovely part of the world. Griffey says, hey, yeah. An RC, a remote control company I use, prints extra receipts. Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath. This is quite the dramatic music.
Yes, Southport. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, what's happening in the world?
There's a lot of bad stuff going on. And unfortunately, I think because we're all now so interconnected everywhere, it appears like there's more stuff going on because we hear about more of it.
Horridge Local Works TMD says, I get my model trains delivered to work. Clever guy. Then you can smuggle them in at your leisure. You can pick a moment where she doesn't suspect a thing and then quickly whip them out the boot of the car. Ashley Cole says, how's you? We're good, thanks. Very hot here, but great to see you. Warbler Productions says, Walton, not the only place that's happened in the UK, also happened in Tamworth. It's been happening all over, actually. It's quite scary.
Yeah.
Mark Wood says, my mother's line was always, oh, I've had it for years, dear.
Have you really? Because this says made this week.
Yeah. Oh, dear. So, how are we doing on Blooming heck?
It is 8 o'clock, and I thought we might start the videos a little early to make up for having not had so many last week. But of course, we can still talk through everything if you want.
Yeah. Will Tucker says, my monthly model railway budget equals my other halves for cigarettes. It just shows there's some other expensive pastimes out there, and some of them leave you with nothing. You literally burn it all.
It's like the old joke, anime, crack is cheaper.
Yes. Retro game collecting, crack is cheaper. Richard Gruter says, maybe manufacturers could make some alternative decoy packaging. Well, ones that just say, like, actually, you know...
Billy's Cheapo logos.
Billy's Cheapo stuff, nothing to see here. Cheap plastic tap. Barry Wendon says, sorry, I am late.
Gandalf, you still there?
A Monday clubber is never late to the wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Thanks Gandalf. And Nick Garolimo says, Jen, will you be going on the Margate 75 layout? Many you from Model U. And I've not really thought about it, to be honest. And thank you so much, 156 Andrew Shortbread Express, very generously donated £2. On the super chat says, Jenny and Zoe, stay cool and classy.
Always Model Railway says, do people not have shared bank accounts with their halves? No.
No, there's a reason
I would
for
recommend that you never have a shared bank account.
This was an experience of my grandparents, actually, was that they were advised to separate their accounts in later life in the event that one of them ended up in a care home, because it limited the amount of money that could be taken to pay for care.
Yeah.
If you have separate accounts, they can't touch your money for your other half's care. So we still have separate bank accounts,
Absolutely.
And it's just keeps things a lot safer.
Plus,
she can't tell what I've been spending on.
well, the other thing is, of course, I have a mental illness, so I don't want you affected by that.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons to not have shared bank accounts.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, we're quite open. We'll show each other what's in our accounts. There's no secrets. So I don't see any need to have a shared bank account.
56XX says he has a joint bank account for bills and direct debits, separate ones for trains and shoes. We don't even do that. We just split the expenses. Jen covers one thing, I cover the other. And we go like that.
Trashman 2008 says yours, mine, and Bill's. I've seen a few people say that, but I think...
Why does Bill always end up paying for everything?
Bill's got a lot of bank accounts. Somebody should... I think
someone should look into this, Bill
I think
guy.
the IRS should take a look. Tanith Villacre says the model railway stuff is no problem when it pales into insignificance next to the price of synthesizers. I must admit, actually, I have seen what my friend Bruno Greif, who does the music for this channel, I've seen what he spends on synthesizers and stuff, and it is eye-watering. Yeah. Absolutely eye-watering. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, these are really, really high-end pieces of kit, really quality stuff. But, it's like my Mother Railway set. Yeah, it's cheap. And, like, people into classic cars, you can end up paying a lot of money into that bottomless pit. Dongit's Mother Railway says a shared account for bills is handy, but it shouldn't be the only account.
Yeah.
And big hello to J94. It's great to see you. Hope I find you well. Little Britain says the bills are shared, but the mortgage rent would be hard to split. It usually dwarfs all the other expenses. Actually, I mean, I find that we're probably half and half. Our mortgage payments at the moment are probably about maybe a little bit more than all the other bills. J94 says I'm okay, thank you. Good to hear. And don't forget, everybody, tickle that like button. It's a really good way of helping out the channel. Spread the word as well. Let people know that the Monday Club is your online model railway club, and it is the best place to hang out and talk with like-minded enthusiasts under the watchful glare of me
and Gandalf
and Topsy Toaster. And Gronksy Toaster, when he's back from his trip home to Toaster to have his washing done. He's at that age, goes home to get his washing done. It needs to have his crumb drawer cleaned by his mum.
Okay, that's going a bit personal there, I think. So, I was thinking... It's just a joke, Jen. Don't take it so seriously.
Joke. Funny. Attempted humour.
Did you just press the button again? I just changed it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're a git.
A.D. Pullen says, Nightle, you take care. It's been great to see you. Hope I find you well and see you next time. Gandalf, will you?
Hello.
Gandalf is supposed to be in the background.
Hello.
So
Hello
we appear to have a Gandalf.
We've got a Gandalf problem.
Yeah. It's always a problem, especially when you put him in the biscuit barrel. Oh, wait a minute. If he's gone really small, that means you could actually drop him in the biscuit barrel, and there's more biscuits for him. Also, don't forget as well that we have...
Oh, he's gone.
Don't forget as well the pin badges. Zoe, the pin badges. You haven't pimped the pin badges.
Oh, yes. We have badges made of pin.
Yeah, so don't forget as well, grab your pin badge. They're selling really well. Huge thank you to everybody who supported the pin badge project. I think maybe we need to do some different designs as well going forward. They've actually been a great success. So a huge thank you to actually all the people who pushed Zoe to get them done. Because it has been really, really great.
We have really appreciated this.
Simon Train's Mother Railway Showcase says that joke got toasted.
Right.
John
Jen.
Copping asks, is he really small or just far, far away?
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
So tonight's first video, Jen, is from Richard Swiderski, who says, "Hi Jenny and Zoe, I hope you're both well. A video for the Monday gang. Wembley and District Model Railway Club Open Day.
So people are asking for a link to the pin badges.
I will get one while we watch this.
So we're going to move over to the first of our videos, if you would like to make that
There
full.
you go.
So open doors event at Rembrian District Model Railway Club, 6th of July. Always good to support not just local model shops, but also
your local events. Because it's always worth
absolutely.
it.
Oh wow, they look nice. Is that a Baldwin in Welsh Highland Railway livery plus some appropriate coaches? So this one is double O gauge, plenty of lights. I do like a canal actually. Can I recommend canals as being amazing for
They look so good.
Oh, there's so much you can do with them. And as well, they're quite good for fitting into spaces because boats are incredibly good at getting round corners, it must be said. Oh, and there's swans there. Be careful, break your arm. I like the gardens as well. There's a lot going on in those gardens. Now, what's wrong?
I'm just trying to load up all mass media.
Why is it not letting you?
I wish the web host is getting another stern talking to today. They keep messing with things. So just leave it alone. So now I've got to change some settings behind the scenes because.
Why won't it just say, "Look, I'm a big, I've got my big girl pants on. Take me to the blooming page."
Yeah, you'd have thought so, wouldn't you?
Oh, that's the browser's fault. That's the browser being like, "Oh, let me mollycoddle you, make me spit in your face, let Windows ruin your computer."
I genuinely can't get that. Oh, there we are. Proceed to allmassmedia.com. Good grief, I shouldn't have to press 3 times just to get the pin badges.
Yeah. So,
this is what I've talked about before. Every single time something like that happens, that's an opt-out for a person. That's a no promotement, where you lose interest.
That's where you're like, oh, well, if they're going to make it hard, I'm not buying one.
Yeah. So it really
wow, look at the
colour.
colour.
Oh my goodness, that is wonderful.
Oh, that is really bright. I like it.
That is...
Oh, I like it. I like it. It's
that pagoda is wonderful.
That's very zen. Puggy poo. Poo.
Someone have an out-of-date certificate. Yeah, Donkets, that's it. I shouldn't have to keep doing this.
Oh, do you think it's something to do with the Windows
No,
downgrade?
it's a security certificate that my web host, who I pay money for, hasn't updated.
Huh. But yeah, anyway, look, Ham Shackleton says, I emailed you about this at 6 p.m.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Unfortunately, I was busy setting up the stream. So there you go.
Oh, this is nice. We've got like a bit of a beach scene.
Actually, this is very interesting. I like that windmill. That's the Daypole windmill. I recognise it because I've built one.
Yeah, it's hanging around here.
It's somewhere in here. Yeah, Jen nicks various bits projects that I've made.
Oh, it's not on the layout. I nicked your N-gauge one for that.
I know you did.
Perspective. Hey, it's in a good place. Look at it. It's loved. It is loved here. I like the lighthouse. That's nice. A lighthouse is something you don't often see.
I like the little bits of
on a
stuff
model.
the breakers on the beach as well. Very nice.
Yeah, nicely done.
This is really good.
Yeah, so thoroughly enjoying. There's a lot. How long is this video? There's a great variety of layouts here. So this is now O gauge. I love O gauge.
So nice. Look at the amount of mud and stickiness there.
Will Tucker says, is Topsy banished to Burnt Norton if he misbehaves? Oh, the bread puns just keep going.
I love it.
Also in the news, incidentally, whilst I remember, Hornby have shared images of, I think they're livery samples of the B17-5. These are the streamlined versions of the B17. They look like an abbreviated A4. They're quite a curious thing. I think there was only ever 2 of them, and they worked the East Anglia service. But they look fabulous, actually. It's just a shame that the BR one is just like plain black with British Railways on the tender. I think they got de-streamlined very early on.
Look how busy that is. Yeah, it doesn't look crowded.
Yeah, I've seen that at it was either Getz or
Nice.
Worley. one or the other.
That is really nice.
So yeah, we've seen that layout.
Speaking of releasing things,
Yeah.
remember that announcement from Games Workshop?
Hey, what?
Where they released a statement about the guy who'd him and his accomplice had been coming into a shop and nicking all the Games Workshop
Oh yeah,
stuff.
he came in and filled his pockets and nicked about 12 grand's worth of stuff. And it's like, and all the Games Workshop people were going, easily done.
Yeah, he went in, he was nicking stuff, and then when the police arrested him, saying you've stolen £12,000 worth of stock, he said, "You've got to be joking! I thought it was only about 500."
Thank you.
Even the thieves thought it was all.
Yeah, thank you, Flymo Chairman 1.
Oh, thank you.
And GT Osprey 98 says so much detail. It's amazing. Oh my word! Thank you so much, Colney 123.
Thank you so much.
Very, very kindly donated £19.99 on the super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity. Says great show tonight, Jen and Zoe. I have a new 2-month-old grandson. Oh, brilliant!
Can't believe how much he spent on model railways. Excellent excuse.
Sir, well played, well played. I doff my hat to you.
Richard Swiderski, thank you so much for sending this in. It's been brilliant.
Absolutely, but we've got.
Connie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So we're going to press the button.
Yep.
Hit the lever.
Hit the lever.
Hit the lever.
Wow.
DJ K666 says I've just ordered my pin badge. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're slowing down again, and it's very annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
With that Games Workshop stuff, was it 2 boxes?
Just a couple of figures that were sat by the till. Yeah, if you want an expensive hobby, go and have a look in Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, but my goodness.
Yeah, Valley's 56XX says 1 hero figure and a tube of glue. Yeah. Richard Knoll says the B175 would look better if it was a 442. My pin badge is ordered as well, says Phil
Thank you
Yates.
so much.
Oh, thank you
for giving me
yes,
more work.
Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath. I've actually been pushing for this. We have to do a little bit of redesigning because we can't do when you make them really small. You've got to simplify some of the detail and the colours.
The Gronk It Up design that we've got is coming. However, the problem is, when I did the Gronk It Up thing for the T-shirt, it's got like the front.
It's got too much
lamp
detail.
iron is what I was trying to do.
Yes,
it's
you've
got
got
areas for the.
Does it right? Does it give you the scope in Photoshop to trim it back, or do you have to do it again?
Oh, I'll have
scratch?
to completely redraw it.
Okay.
But that's not a problem.
So yeah, Gronk It Up is coming.
Retro Ramble says, is
so
Games Workshop really that expensive, or are they exploiting people? No one's exploiting anyone. Games Workshop is British and produces in Britain.
That's
so
basically what it costs when you
Yeah.
make stuff in
So
Britain.
they have costs equating to producing in Britain.
Jorga Quarters actually was just saying hello from I think it was somewhere in America, but they've retracted the comment, unfortunately. But hello to you, great to see you. Hope you're well.
Hello. We are so now, Fabian. Okay, I don't know what the hell is going on here.
The heat. Jorga Quarters says hi, Monday Club from Chesapeake, Virginia. Great to see you. I hope you're well. So you're sort of over towards the east coast of. All right. So, well, if you're going to do that,
yeah, you turn that one down, and I'll turn this one.
I'm just going to move topsy. We are getting very, very warm in here indeed. Oh, that is nice. So we've got plenty of water.
Right. So I've now got another fan pointed at the computer,
and see if
a different
helps.
fan pointed at the Jenny, and no fans from me.
Yes. Yeah, don't worry, Yoga Coast. I was going to read it out, and then it disappeared. Nick at Bletchner High Level says, my good friend George started his training on 08s this week at Whitemoor's Yard. Gronk him up, please. Gronk it up! Gronk it up! Gronk it up! Hashtag not a cult for legal and tax purposes.
And also, good luck to your friend.
Absolutely. And also, don't forget, on Friday, we have got a Gronk revival video coming. Oh, yes. I filmed this months ago. It's been sat in the buffer for so long. But I've been having a few weeks off, after saying, I was getting quite stressed out, overworked. I had a couple of weeks of just coasting.
This is just...
yeah.
This is not working.
Yeah, you've crashed the stream.
Okay, we've got to stop the videos.
Okay, I'm sorry. We've got a serious issue here with the videos. So
we're gonna have to.
We're gonna have to stop the videos now. It's just the heat seems to be getting to everything.
It's killing the computer.
And also, I think as well, the Microsoft downgrade has probably not helped as well.
Oh, and that's the other thing. Someone was pointing out here. Games Workshop has the better paint quality. Ivor Van's on. I would agree.
Yeah,
and I think you would as well. You saw the quality.
I was actually very impressed by the quality of the Games Workshop acrylics.
Yeah.
Great coverage. One coat over plastic and metal.
Yeah, they just go straight on.
We need to talk a little bit more as well about today's topic. So, I know there's a few people arrived a little bit late, but I mean the upsum is, at the moment, as a consumer, I'm not saying don't make out like a bandit in the sales, because quite frankly, make the most of it. But fill your boots, buy as much as you can in the sales, because there's never been a better time to be buying the models, so to speak, in terms of the deep discounts. But I think the issue is that the deep discounts may be a sign that manufacturers are struggling to clear stocks, and that can in turn impact on profitability. And if it's not profitable to produce something, then why would you? So I think that there is a danger in having so many sales that people come to expect the prices being lower. We talked before about the Ben & Jerry's principle. Nobody buys Ben & Jerry's at full price because they perceive it as being too expensive, because every other week it's on a deal somewhere where instead of being £6 a tub, it's £3.50. And if you have too many sales, it creates a sense in people's heads that actually that's all the model is worth. So they won't pay the full price version because it's like, oh, I'll just wait for it to be in the sales. That then creates a self-fulfilling spiral where the next time a model comes out, we heard from some people who said that they bought a model when it came out. Must-have model, yeah, great, grand. And then within months, they saw it deeply discounted. We're not talking just a few quid. We're talking hundreds of pounds less than they spent. And unfortunately, that means that people then think, well, I'll wait to pay the sale. Big hello, Les. Great to see you. Hope you're well. Where is he?
Not Lobia.
Oh, there at the bottom. A quick hello. Hello, Les. Don't forget, everybody, as you're arriving, do hit the like button. It is a great way of helping the channel, and spread the word on social media that the Monday Club is the best place to hang out and talk all things trains with knowledgeable people. Share that. What on earth is just happening?
I'm trying to find out which version of Windows we're using.
Can we turn off
Windows 10?
Okay, meaning?
Well, everyone's saying that Windows isn't supposed to still be getting updates. We're on Windows 10. It's still getting updates.
You don't think it's running a Trojan or something and we're currently botnetting in the background?
We're getting updates from Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. We're still getting updates.
Flymo Chairman 1 says, I saw a box of Humbrol paints yesterday. Was tempted to grab a lot. There was other tempting bargains. DJK666 says, I've been doing most of my pre-orders through Rails and a Curascale. Rob says, liked rung bell. Boom! But yeah, spread the word, and if you've not already done so, then do subscribe to the channel. We need to get to 100,000. Why? Because I really want the plaque behind me, and I'm not gonna buy one of those scammy fake ones, because that's just sad. It's like getting your mum to give you a certificate of participation. It's like, oh, you didn't win anything in school sports day. I'll make you a certificate that says you're the best Wally in the world.
Hey, I made that with love.
Mike Ray says Windows 10 gets updates until October.
There you go. So in October we can finish with the updates.
Yeah, Phil Yates, I hear you, but you've got to buy a Mac, and this computer has to do a lot more than just stream, and there's a lot of custom hardware in it. Right, Plymouth North Road Station. Good evening to you. Says, sorry I'm late. Hope the loft isn't too hot. It is sweltering. But Gandalf, you about? Gandalf? Gandalf? Gandalf?
The Monday
Oh, there you
Clubber is never late to the wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they need to.
Thanks, Gandalf. And Yaharik says, I've been using Rail Match acrylics lately. I found them very good.
Good
Excellent.
things, yes.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. Excuse me.
Phil Metcalf has a good point, though. It's more about which paints you get used to. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
yes, I love the Games Workshop washers that you can get as well. The
See, I'm a
Null Noil, and I think it's called. They've got stupid names.
Chaos Black.
It's
Skull.
not Chaos Black anymore.
Is it not?
It's Abaddon Black.
Oh, right. Well, what about Bone White?
Korax White. And
No, they-
Wraith Bone.
Wraith Bone.
They love it. It's brilliant.
Dark Soul Brown.
Yeah, they've officially stopped supporting Windows 10, but the security updates are still coming until October.
Yeah, because they keep finding problems.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, oh, no, no.
Oh my goodness,
Do
that
you remember when we
that-
budged that bit? Oh, we best
that
fix it.
Cloudfire or whatever it was.
Oh, what a...
You know
what-
that I was in the pharmacy this week.
Mhm.
They're still recovering from that.
Yeah. Somebody's losing their job and never working in the industry again off the back of that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and also the thing was, they then punted out $10 gift vouchers to say sorry to everybody who was affected.
They might as well
And
just kick people in the teeth.
As people said, it would have been less offensive to have not done anything, because at least then it wouldn't have smacked of contempt.
Yeah.
You know, when they cost industries billions of pounds worth of damage, and apparently the vouchers were being flagged as fraudulent by the likes of Uber and Amazon and Just Eat, because there's so many people were cashing them in. So it must be fraudulent activity,
Oh
so they
my
started
goodness.
blocking them.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we do have an ex-Tractor fan.
No, we have
used to be into Massey Ferguson, but now he just
I think he's just got a
sucks.
real problem.
Yeah.
We've got an interesting question there from Jennifer Horton. Do paints go off? It depends.
It depends on the quality. Some paints do, some paints don't. Now, I've got paints that date back to the 1970s in the Humbrol range, and they're absolutely fine. In fact, so much so that when the likes of Sawyer's or other model shops that do mystery bags from stuff that when they've bought in a big collection, house clearances, that kind of thing, I like getting the ones where you've got tins of Humbrol paints from the 70s and 80s. Why? Because I know that the quality was brilliant back then, and the paints, if the tins are sealed, will last forever. What I would recommend is that you make sure the lids are on nice and tight, but occasionally turn them the other way up. And so over time, you keep the paint moving and stop it from separating out. And actually, that should be all right. Tim Davis, it happened in America as well. You can bet your bottom dollar that there is a class action going down. GT Osprey 98 says, anyone else waiting on the Scaledale Hornby office or the factory to come out?
The Hornby office. I almost bought one of those.
Were they showing us in stock yet? Because I must have.
But they put it out in the newsletter thing. You
Yeah,
can order
yeah,
one.
that was in the.
I almost ordered one.
They can't be far off. I keep looking around. It's like, where would I put the Hornby
And that's
factory?
why I didn't. That's why I didn't order one.
The problem I've got is we're yards a little bit on the full side, so I don't really have room
You would
for a lot
have
of
to
stuff.
do a major reconstruction.
I'd have to take some building out to put another one
And I
in.
don't think you could do that. Jen,
Yes.
while we're on,
Yes.
is there any more news?
I will have told you all. So
Not any more
Hornby
news.
have shared B17.5 livery samples. They're getting really close. And yeah, they look a bit weird. And I think the reason that they look weird is because we're so used to the A4, the 462, the Pacific wheel arrangement, when the B17.5 is a 10-wheeler arrangement.
10-wheeler, my goodness.
460.
Yeah, 10
Now-
wheels is a lot, though.
Now, this is something else at some point I should probably talk about. There are nicknames for pretty much every wheel arrangement. Now, the ones that people are very familiar with, things like Pacific, Atlantic, and also Baltic. That gets mentioned, like the Baltic tanks. But there are actually nicknames for pretty much every wheel arrangement. So 282 is a Mikado, 262 is a Prairie, 280 is a Consolidation.
A new consolidation from Railroad Tycoon.
Yeah, and 440, so it can change between continents. So 440 is known as an American in America, but in the UK, we don't really have a name used for them. So I always use American because that's what the Americans use. But then you've got things like Niagaras, not sure what they might be 484, Challengers, Malays, Big Boys. There's a lot of different nicknames. I'm trying to think. The 222s, what were they? I must go and look them up. 260 Mogul, yeah, Marcus Muggins.
Is there such a thing as a 444?
Yeah, there is, but I can't remember what it is. Dongits Mulleroe says, yes, a Baltic is known as a Hudson in North America. Valley's 56XX, yes, a compound. Yeah, Jennifer Horton says, most nicknames come from the USA. A 460 is just a 10-wheeler. Yeah, and an 060 is a 6-wheeler. Little Britain's just Mountain, Mohawk, Mikado, it's 282. Richard Grooters, behave yourself. Little Britain 266 Mikado. Yeah, the white notation, Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath. 222 was a spinner, or a patentee. You can have multiple different names for things.
Bow in diesel forms.
Yeah, 010 Decapod. Although actually, I've seen 210s referred to as a Decapod as well. I think a 212 is a Centipede.
Wow.
Raymond Legg says Eve Model has released some European and American locos.
Oh, don't apologise. It was
284 Berkshire. Yes, Rich Stable, 284 a Berkshire. John Copping, no, that I'm not aware of anyone called a Bogner. Bo Minnick says a Niagara 484 is actually really a Northern. Mountain is a 482, 422 with the spinner types. There was also a Crampton. Actually, wasn't a 424? Was that a Crampton? I'm not sure. Anyway, there's just
an 808 is a Bob. Nice one.
An 80085. It's an older code, but it does check out. Leslie Gilpin Rose also says a Centipedes were also a Baldwin diesel. Little Britain says NYC, the New York Central, called the mountains of Niagara because they didn't have mountains. Raymond Legg says the 3 American locos are from Model Power Tooling. The European diesel looks to be an old GUF or Mahano tooling.
This to you because I've got to pop off to set up for my
Crampton
show.
is a 420. Aha. And DJK 666. Yeah, 010 was a serious beast. I'm only aware of 2 that ran in the UK. Big Bertha, but also the one that was actually called the Decapod, which was an 010 tank built by the Great... Was it the Great Northern or the Great Eastern Railway? But certainly it was basically built for political, like railway politics reasons. And
you know, we have all these songs like the Great Central, the Great Eastern, the Great Northern. Were there any, you know,
Great
a
Western?
bit more modest, like the average South, the kind of good Northern?
the mediocre Northwestern.
Yeah, the decent Midland.
yeah. Great Eastern Railways, the Simon Trains Mother Railway Showcase. Russell Benton's just, is a 444 a Metropolitan? You know, I don't know. I really don't know. Richard Gruter says, "Oh no! Now I have these Windows updates too. Oh no!" Tullia 10 says, "Centipede is a Union Pacific 10 to put behind a Challenger or a big boy mallet." And Great Eastern Model Railway says, "If you want paint from model shops, you need to buy bigger purchases from model shops too." Absolutely. And that's what I always say, is use your local model shops. It's use it or lose it, because there's a lot of things, you know, if you go and try and buy stuff mail order from the big places, it's much harder to browse. And there's lots of like the little things, which I always find when you go into a model shop, and if somebody comes up to you and goes, "Oh, can I help you? Are you looking for anything in particular?" I don't know until I see it. I like to be inspired. And that's why I like visiting bricks and mortar shops. We've done a lot of videos in the past visiting them. We need to do more. It's really just a time and cost thing getting out there. But it's like looking for those things that you didn't know that you needed until you saw it. And, you know, a model shop will not survive if all you do is very occasionally go in and buy a tube of Humbrol polystyrene cement and a tin of Humbrol number 33 black. It's not going to survive. You know, you need to support your local model shops, but also check out the second hand. There's a lot of model shops, if not all of them, do second hand. And I've always said this, actually, a lot of them, it's priced very competitively. And certainly, you know, if you're worried about new prices, you can do no worse than go and browse the second hand sections. I know I mentioned Arcadia Models, big up Tim and everybody at the Arcadia Posse. I mention them a lot because I do go there a lot. It's relatively near to where I live. And he has a second-hand table priced to sell. There's no point in me telling you usually what's there, because it shifts and changes on a day-to-day basis. But all model shops do. I've had some great bargains from a lot of other model shops from the second-hand tables. It's well worth just going to have a rummage. Tullia 10 says a 212 Württemberger. And Richard Knoll says the Decapod was a futile attempt to outdo electric traction. I wouldn't have said it was entirely futile. It did exactly what it set out to do. But the problem was it was. I think it was more a case of trying to say, "Oh, we don't need to electrify these lines." Jennifer Horton says, "I have travelled behind a 212 in Bulgaria. I must post some pictures." Gosh, I mean, doesn't it mean that it would struggle to go around tight corners? It'd push the track apart. Yorga Cortes says, "Unfortunately, no model shops here sell 009, so I get everything through the UK." Well worth it, but what you will find is that a lot of UK model shops will post to the US. Don't ask, don't get, but you can get some great deals shopping around. And one of the other things you sometimes find, I always say it's a great thing to do, is that some of the smaller model shops also quite often have on the shelf models that have been sold out at the bigger shops. So this was one of the things we used to say about, there used to be a model shop in Bolton. Sadly, it shut down. But when it was still open, I always said it was the best kept secret in the Northwest, because you'd go in there and he had on the shelf, he basically bulk bought Bachmann branch line wagons probably about 15 years ago. So around about the time when the LNER ventilated vans came out, and he had them on the shelf for, I think it was about £8 each. And, you know, this was the time when the same wagon, but just the more modern production run, were being sold for about £25 a pop. So, you know, £8 brand new or £25 brand new. Take your pick. And I got loads of wagons from there. Some locomotives as well. I got a Class 108 for, I think I paid £69, brand new for the GMPTE Class 108. So some of these smaller model shops, maybe a little bit more off the beaten track. Just take a look. You might find brand new old stock on the shelf at what was then the normal price, but is now an incredible discounted price compared to what the latest production runs come through at. You might grab yourself a really good bargain. Raymond Legg says only a few shops in the US keep European stuff in stock, so Euro Lock Shop, Euro Model Trains, and Trains and eBay is where I have to shop. Sorry, do making sure I pronounce the Z there, just so that people know the spelling. Andy Fryer's Junction, that's Sawyer's Model, says you should see the amount of pre-owned we have currently. Iron Horse can agree with this. Absolutely. And I always say to people, go and have a look, have a rummage, because if you buy stuff off websites, really, when you're doing the search, it's like, well, what am I looking for? And quite often, the thing I love about going and visiting a model shop is seeing something that you didn't know that you really wanted. And you go in and it's there. It's like the thrill of the chase is amazing. And you go, oh, they've got this on the second-hand table. It's great. And you end up buying models that, you thought, oh, they were long sold out. Never thought I'd get this. Or you get a bargain project model. I've bought a few things where they've got a few issues and you've seen them in the Can We Fix It videos. That actually it's quite often really quite easy to turn around some of these models and get some really great deals just for a little bit of legwork. Valley's 56XX says Rapido are doing a new Great Western open wagon for 35 quid. Too expensive not buying one. If they had matched Daypole for 16 quid or so, I might have considered buying a rank. The problem is that at 16 quid it would cost them more to make than they would be selling them for. So you at the end of the day, the manufacturer still has to make money, and there is a temptation to say, "Oh, they're all gouging, they're gouging." But the problem is that actually a lot of them aren't, and I suspect that some of the manufacturers may be struggling a little bit. Don't know who, but it is definitely tough times.
Yeah.
Raymond Legg says, I did find a Roco Prussian locomotive that originally cost $500 for $92 mint in box from Trains. It has so much detail, I break it when I take it out of the... That is, but like, there you go. You look around, you can get some amazing deals. And Great Eastern Model Railway says, pre-owned models is what's bringing customers into our shop weekly. Absolutely, and it's the same for a lot of model shops. I know Tim at Arcadia, big up Tim and all the Arcadia posse. I always say, you go there, and the first thing you look at is you make sure you make a beeline for that second-hand table, because there's some great deals to be had there. Valley's 56XX says Daypole can knock them out for under 20 quid. Yeah, but they are older tooling.
They've already paid for the tooling.
Simpler models, older tooling. There's no tooling.
Amortization.
I always struggle with that word. Andy Fryer's Junction says not all the pre-owned is on our website yet. We've over 250 locos to list. Always on the lookout for a Gronk I don't have, or even a modern super detailed A4. Can't help myself.
Stuart Higgins has a very interesting question.
Oh yeah.
How do you cleanly disassemble a Hornby steam locomotive boiler from its cab? I'm not sure you can always.
I'm trying to remember how the Black 5 went together, because the cab...
Well, it just slid on the back.
Yeah, from what I remember... Yeah, but then there is glue involved. Mm-hmm. It does get glued.
And that's why I'm saying I don't think you can.
It all depends on how gung-ho they were with the glue in the factory.
Yeah.
The problem you've got is, from memory with the Black 5, the cab attaches to the boiler relatively early on in the assembly of the body. So you then build a lot of detail parts in around it, which would make it harder and harder to remove it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It would
Andy
be a
Fry-
very big ask to try and cleanly remove it.
Andy Fryer's Junction. The ones I'm after are the Hornby Super Detail ones, the ones with the 8-pin socket in the loco, and the tender that is not containing the tender drive chassis. Very, very important in BR liveries. The ones I'm currently after, there is a question mark. I had to send Sir Ralph Wedgwood back under warranty, so I don't know whether I'll be getting Sir Ralph Wedgwood back or whether it'll be exchanged for one of a certain number of others. But there, I lose. I'm just looking at that. I lose count how many I've got. But off the top of my head, Dominion of Canada, Union of South Africa, Sir Charles Newton.
Sorry, what did Flyball just link there?
What? He? Who? Is that my channel?
Don't know.
Oh, it's the Flymo. No. That's the members only version. Well, that's the Patreon.
Please don't link the videos that haven't come out yet.
Yeah, if you've got access to Friday's video early, it's because you're either a patron or a channel member. They don't go properly fully live until Friday for the riff-raff.
No, not for the... Basically, this is how we fund the shows.
Yeah.
By having the members-only version, which doesn't have adverts on because you're paying us direct via...
It's one of the reasons to become a patron of the channel.
And then
you get early access.
As well.
Mark Wood says, that was me and eBay persuading me that I wanted an LMS Garrett case kit.
Accidents happen, Flymo,
don't worry. We've accidentally, we managed to accidentally break a Hellion embargo and let everybody know what they were releasing a week early.
A Hellion embargo, a Rapido embargo. We accidentally one time put description into a forthcoming video.
That was the Hellion one.
That was the Hellion one, and we didn't understand that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they changed how YouTube worked, so you could actually see the description.
Trevor Veal says, I have only 18 A4s. Now,
only?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25... Technically 26, but one is away under warranty. So 25 on the shelf, a 26th. And just check there's none in the...
Just check you haven't forgotten any of this. Jen, when was the last time you had a look properly at what you've got in your fiddle yard?
It's been a while, about a year. Andy Fryer's Junction says, Jenny, I'll look tomorrow and drop you an email. You'll also be getting your Lee exhibition info for exhibitors soon. Boom! Looking forward to it. The Lee exhibition, actually, it was a great one. And I believe it was one of the first that I, many years ago, burst onto the exhibition scene with Grove Street Yard. Gosh, memories.
My goodness.
But can you keep your hair out of my trees?
To...
Cupboard Monkey's leaning back and just like big ponytail going, let me just ruin all your trees.
Totally can't see this in your trees.
New Western Grove says, hi Jenny, I've recently been doing model bashing, currently working on a Northeastern Railway Z-Class Atlantic out of a Triang B12 and a Northeastern Railway Y-Class 462 tank out of a Triang Princess.
Wow.
Excellent.
Nice.
Russell Benton says 35 A4s, I think. Yeah, sounds about right. I'm still short 9, 8, 9, something like that. But I only go for the ones that in BR livery. So it's going to be that and 34. Warbler Productions, do you have the A4 name Gargany? Hornby, I've only released it in LNER Blue so far. I'm not sure about Batman. I only do BR liveries. Now I do have Kingfisher in both BR livery and Garter Blue, but that's it was actually, I think, the second A4 I ever bought. I bought a set, funnily enough, at the Lee exhibition, where it came with 3 of the Super Detail Gresleys. Retro Rambles asks, how many DMU models do you have?
Do you DMU?
Do I DMU? I do DMU. I've got at least 3, possibly 4 Class 108s. I've got a Class 101, and I've got a Class 150.
Wow.
What else have I got? I've got a couple of... I've got the Hellion GWR Razor rail car. I've got the Daypole one as well. They did the other version. One did AEC, the other did whatever it was they did. I've also got a Class 153, a Class 121, and a 122.
And a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Yeah, Valley's 56XX says, I don't model Eastern region, but I do have one A4. Oh, come on. Everybody's got to have an A4. There's certain locomotives...
It is the best kind of paper.
Yeah. There's certain locomotives that no collection is truly complete without. A Gronk, obviously. An A4. Always got to have an A4. A Deltic of some kind, obviously. But then also a Terrier. Let's get a Terrier and a Puggy Poo. So there you are. Get you going as 5. And maybe a Class 25 as well.
So he's now live on YouTube according to your notifications.
Hey, what? Who?
I hope not.
That's somebody else. Hey,
Another half an hour. No, you'll be getting the half an hour notification.
Yeah,
I'll be live in half an hour.
Richard Groot says, "Oh yeah, and I've got the Hellion, the little tiny wagon and Maschinenbau one as well. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I saw one of them in, was it 009 scale at the at DCC Concepts Open Day. TMC had them on their little stand.
Pass.
The tiny little blocky things. I thought they were so cute.
Griffey says, A4 never really floated my boat. GWR and LMS for the win. See, GWR I found overrated. And before you mug me for this, like, how dare you diss God's wonderful railway. I do like the Mikado tanks, the 72XXs. Really big soft spot for those. I think they were an amazing locomotive. Can't tell you why, but I just love them. LMS, the XL and Y Pugs, obviously, but also the G2As, love them. The 7Fs 080s, really interesting. The Beams, was it Beams 084 tanks? Thought they were quite interesting. So there's some really interesting LMS locomotives, it must be said. And James Petts, it's great to see you, even if you are a bit late. Says, I approve of the GW.
Is never late, Toto wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Thanks, Gandalf. Russell Benton says a Ginty and a Pannier must be in there somewhere. Yeah, I could see
and
that.
A partridge
Yeah, I
in
could
a
see
battery.
that. But I'd say a Pannier, definitely a Pannier. But there's some like GWR locomotives. In fairness, do look.
I have
there
a
are
question
some
for
variety.
you.
You have questions. This is where babies come from.
Oh, I know that one. What's the difference between a Ginty and a Jocko?
It depends on where in the country you are, but they're nicknames for the same.
Right. I did wonder.
But then Class 08s, some of them got Jocko was another nickname for them. So Jocko was a nickname that carried over to the 08s.
Right.
But funnily enough as well, if you were on Somerset and Dorset joint railway territory, Ginties were nicknamed Bagnalls.
I've heard that one as well, yes.
Yeah. Richard Knowles says, even though it would be too big for my layout, I know that my collection won't be complete without the new Acura scale Class 60. Griffey says, cheesy chips on a garlic naan. Get in my belly.
Oh, don't say things like that. I'm trying to lose weight. That's really...
Nigel Cole says, I love pannier or any Indian cheese. Raymond
That's
Legs.
paneer, not pannier.
Oh dear. Retro Ramble. Oh yeah. Dave Scott Railways. Big hello to you. Great to see you. Hope you're well. Don't forget, any of the latecomers, if you haven't already done so, do hit that like button. It's a great way of helping out the channel for free. And do consider letting people know on social media.
Social.
Yeah, it's a great way of, again, helping us grow the channel. Let people know all are welcome. It is the greatest live stream on model railways that there is, except no substitute. We even vaguely know what we're talking about at times. Jennifer Horton says a Jocko is a totem nickname for a Ginty or an 08. Their Ginties were made by North British in Glasgow. Gun Guy 65, big hello to you. Great to see you. Hope you're well. Warwiller Production says I prefer pre-grouping locos like the 440 types of the London and North Western Railway coal tank. Actually, yeah, that's pretty good. I love them in any livery too, from original company livery to end of steam. Terriers and HSTs run on my layouts as Southern Triangle. Actually, Terriers. I love Terriers. Everybody must have one. It's the law. And actually, I've made it my mission. I don't have, I think it's, I can't remember whether it's Fenchurch or Poplar, or indeed maybe both. But they're the only ones which I believe, I think it's Poplar, that has been released in the new tooled versions in the golden ochre livery with the name on the tanks that I don't have. It came as part of a 2-pack. Which a lot of them got half-inched on the out of the container, so they're quite hard to come by legitimately. But I made it my mission to get all of the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway burnt umber livery, improved engine green. They're not green. I just love that livery, but I've got them in pretty much every other livery. Funnily enough, very well-travelled locomotive, probably second only to Gronk's in terms of how far and wide they got, and also the liveries that they carried. And a good deal of the more obscure liveries have just not yet been done in any form in models.
I've just been sent a message. It says, "This is the world." My mirror says, "Hey, you look cute." My camera says, "Hey, what's up, Shrek?"
That's true. Oh, Simon Train's Model Railway Showcase says, were Terriers very popular? Bring out... yeah, go
on. Oh my goodness!
Poplar is preserved at the Cantonese Sussex Railway, also known as Bodiam. Fenchurch is at the Bluebell. The Coronations, wonderful locomotives as well, says Gun Guy 65. Absolutely.
Just before we go any further though, Jen, I think what we need now...
Oh, we are close to the end.
As a final thought, is a message from our sponsor.
So we're just going to have a quick message from our sponsor, and then we will be right back. The Monday Club is proudly sponsored by TMC, the Model Centre. Check them out at themodelcentre.com. The website features extensive stocks of new models as well as selective pre-owned items where you can track down that bargain you've always wanted. Pre-order with confidence all of the forthcoming models from all the manufacturers. TMC also offer a renumbering and renaming service so you can get the exact identity of locomotive that you want. Why not also check out their value weathering, or go for something incredibly special with their bespoke service where you can choose from a more extensive weathered look right through to custom graffiti either off the peg or to a design of your choice. Check out TMC today at themodelcentre.com and start your model journey.
So thank you very much to TMC.
Absolutely, couldn't keep the lights on without TMC.
Absolutely not. Give them a look for all your weathering needs and also second-hand and new models.
Absolutely. But going back to our topic...
You said but.
Yes, you love that. But going back to our topic, we were discussing this actually whilst we were playing the sponsor slot. I think to sum up what we've been talking about, I don't think that the sales at the moment are bad for the consumer. Far from it, actually. You know, fill your boots, make out like a bandit whilst you can. But I think that the risk to the hobby is actually further down the line. It's not now. Forget about that. Make out like a bandit whilst you can. But in the future, because of these deep discounts now, I think it may mean that certain models that might have otherwise been made might not be made. And I think that a lot of manufacturers will have to perhaps rationalize their release schedule rather than relying on like the big like new tooling all the time.
Yeah.
I think we need to go back to a situation where they make the most of existing tooling.
Yes.
So a case in point, the Hornby and the Rails Terrier as well, there are lots of liveries that have not been done. And I don't mean just the fact that there was I forget how many terriers there were, but every single one of those terriers had an original burnt umber livery with the name on the tanks. Now, in the current new tooled versions, we have seen, I think, 6 of probably 65, something like that. And just seeing if anybody's...
That's a lot.
Seeing if somebody's told me how many terriers there were. There were a lot of terriers. But most of those terriers have not been released. And so, for example, Hornby did Leadenhall and Merton. Those had never been, to the best of my knowledge, ever released in any previous tooling. So there's like Wonersh has never been released, as far as I know, in that livery. So just to give one example. So there's a lot of choice out there. There's the LB and SCR brown livery. The only modern tooled version is Gypsy Hill. There's only one being done. New Haven Harbour Company livery, not been done in 00. It has appeared in N-Gauge. Shropshire and Montgomeryshire Railway, they had, I think, 3 terriers. That livery's not appeared. Edgehill Light Railway, they had 2 terriers. That livery's not appeared. There's a lot of options for terriers that have just not appeared. Whereas we're getting a lot of new tool stuff coming through. And I think in the future, what we will find is there will be a little bit of a shift in the hobby. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think there will be a change. The deep discounting at the moment perhaps signals that a change is coming. But like I said, make out like a bandit whilst you can.
Yeah.
Make the most of the sales.
Because if you don't, you'll regret it.
Yeah, because if you don't, you'll regret it. And at the end of the day, if you don't buy it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
DJK666 says, I do think there'll be a different business methods used in the model industry in the future. Already seen that in the US. Rapido Canada tends to be much more on this almost like a subscription model whereby you commit to a model in advance, and if the a number to make the production run viable commit, then the production run goes ahead, and there aren't extra models particularly. J. Paul Anderson says, hello all, very late here in Denmark currently. Boom.
A Monday clubber is never late to the wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Thanks, Gandalf. Simon Trains Motherwell showcases more terrier liveries. We need to bark at the manufacturers to get them done. Dave Holloway says there were 50 terriers. Thank you so much. I knew that there was
still a lot.
That's a lot. You think there's 6 of those 50 being done in the original livery?
Manufacturers could say,
you could put one, right?
1 or 2, yeah.
Can I just say that Hornby, for example, Dapol as well, you could have one of the umber liveried ones every year. Just the one. Don't get greedy. You could have actually the BR and the southern ones seem to have ended up in the sales a little bit. So let's keep an eye on the sales. And just there's the LBSCR brown livery. We could have one of those. Have the mystery weird one. So Edgehill Light Railway 1 year. Shropshire and Montgomeryshire another, New Haven Harbour Company another, and you could have 3, maybe 4 terriers every year in the catalogue. Come what may, do a production run. From Hornby's point of view, it's the perfect model to have for a web exclusive or a club exclusive. They do sell well. Yeah, Jennifer Horton says terriers would sell as they are named after London suburbs. Not all of them, though. Thames and Box Hill are two that spring to mind, not named after London suburbs. One named after a hill, the other after the river through the centre.
It's amazing that we have the River Box Hill and a hill called Thames.
Leslie Gilpin Railway says there were two GWR Terriers, BR numbers 1 and 2, weren't they? There was one that lasted into the 50s. I can't remember which number it was. The other one technically just made it into BR ownership, but was pretty much withdrawn and scrapped shortly afterwards. I doubt it ever got repainted into BR livery. And yeah, Yaharic, Jenny, like they used to, absolutely. From Backman's point of view, every year, Class 08 should never be out of the catalogue. There should be BR Blue, BR Green, and another, I would say, actually, no, let's make it 4 Class 08s in the catalogue every year. A BR Blue, BR Green, and a privatisation era one, and another mystery one. Could be BR Black, could be Rail Freight Distribution, who knows? But there's always a market for that. Class 25s, I'm sorry, but there should be Class 25s in the range every year, come what may. Class 20s as well, Class 37s. You know, there's a good back catalogue of locomotives. From Hornby's point of view, there needs to be a couple of A4s every year, come what may. You want a BR liveried one, you need an LNER liveried one. You know, let's have either a Garter Blue, a Doncaster Green, or silver liveried one, and yeah, we'll have
Throw in a Flying Scotsman as well.
And also I think there was 4 of the A4s got experimental purple. So far, they've done Police Chief Wiggum twice, and Merlin was done as a special edition for, I think it was Model Fair, a long time ago.
Did you get Merlin?
I've got Merlin, but not that particular one. So there's 4. There's 4 in that really eye-catching livery. So I'm just being flagged up that it's getting really late. So don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. And check us out over on Patreon. You can also pick up your merch through the link that's being shared from time to time. For the pin badges, these are exclusive to the channel. They make great headboards, apparently perfect for O-gauge. I'm going to actually have a go at fitting one of those to one of my O-gauge locomotives for out in the garden.
It'll cost you 5 squiddly diddlies.
Hey, wait a minute, I thought I'd pay for these. But,
the company paid for these.
We are going to be releasing a Gronk It Up one in due course, but thank you to everybody who supported that. Monday Club Wagons, we do need to get the designs sorted for that.
Yeah.
But thank you as well for supporting the previous Monday Club Wagons. Full merch store down below. Don't forget as well, let people know on social media. Let's get the audience back up. During lockdown, we were regularly pulling in 10,000 people a week for the Monday Club. Let's get it back there. Come on.
Can you imagine the state of the chat if 10,000 people turned up?
But yeah, Ben Tuller, I hear you on that. Hornby need to update the Caledonian Pug with DCC ready compatibility. If they sell them minus DCC chips fitted and keep them basic detailed, it would sell well. Yeah. GWR Terrier, hey, DJK 666, it's been done. I think Hornby did release the GWR Terrier. It has the little monogram shirt button logo, but we're going to have to go. So you take great care of yourself. And don't forget as well, at the end of the stream, you'll be prompted to move straight across to the Cupboard Monkey, aka Gamehammer Classic Gaming's live stream, where your live streaming Monday Night Goodness continues. And what games are you going to be playing tonight?
Tonight is the Total Request night. We have got Lego Dimensions as a starter, but it's whatever
Crash
people
Nitro
want.
Kart.
Crash Nitro Kart will be played.
I'm gonna put up Crash Nitro Kart
And
for
of course,
a bit of old school fun.
Whatever people want, if they say a game and I've got it, we can play it. But for now, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great evening. Jenny's going to play a bit of trains for a bit, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming. Always good to see you. Stay well. Press the button.
Hit the lever. The train now departing is the 2104 service to Minith Tatis, stopping at Bolton Trinity Road, Tatis Newarth, Eindhoven, Pittsburgh somehow, Butts farting, Packham on the back. That unnamed layout that Jenny said had a name, but it turned out it didn't have a name. And then on through various places. Also remember, please do alight at Three Cocks for Lord Hereford's Knob, and then on to Minitatis. That's 2104 service to Minitatis.
And keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times until it's fully stopped.
And keep all gronks in the upright position.
Gronk it up! Gronk it up! Gronk it up! Hashtag not a cult for legal and tax purposes.
If you go up to the loft today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go up to the loft today, you'll never believe your eyes. For every train there ever was has gathered there together, because today's the day that Jenny does the Monday Club. Good night. The Crocodile Cult is not a cult for legal and tax purposes. Your mileage may vary.
Oh, hold on, no. You don't want my ugly mush on the screen. Where's my mouse pointer? There we go. And I know some people did ask what the aeroplane is. It's a Bristol Bulldog. Yes, you shan't. It was quite epic, actually, when Gandalf brought that in for a landing. Very nearly hit the bunker there, but wizards always arrive exactly where they mean to. And in case anybody is wondering, yes, it is incredibly hot up here. I'm actually slightly moist. Ooh, you didn't need to know that, but yeah. Oh, wait a minute. No, not in a bad way, but just like sweaty. There's actually there's no clean way of saying that. I'll just find out if Game Hammer Classic Gaming is ready for you guys. So, just check. Are you on? Okay. So, just got time to thank you. The Cupboard Monkey is all set up and ready to go. So, it's been really great having your company. Yes, I know, Simon Train's Motherwell Showcase. Moist! Such a dirty word! Darling, add it to the list. Along with bollard and moped. And spillage. So thank you everybody for coming. Thank you everybody for supporting the channel. Again, a final call. Hit that like button if you've not already done so. And subscribe to the channel. If you've... Richard Swiderski. Wash your mouth out with soap. Fly Mode Chairman 1, just a bit hot, just a bit warm. Unfortunately we weren't able to do more than one video because the computer just went, it's a bit hot, you know. Ooh! And Windows went, oh, we're just doing a downgrade in the background, secretly and slyly. Yes, values 56XX, gusset is an unfortunate word. Robert Davies, ta-ra! So look, you guys take great care of yourself. Happy Monday clubbing, happy modelling, take care.